All right, guys, I'm here to recap the Heat versus Celtics. Game one, Heat won 123 to 116. I absolutely love this game for a lot of different reasons, but I'm running a little late on getting my reaction video out. I had to watch the second half earlier today, this afternoon, so I want to be quick. And I know I always say I want to be quick, and I usually take like 8 minutes, but I got a couple notes here to kind of guide me. So, first things first. Okay, this is the Zombie Heat versus the Boston Celtics. The Celtics are clearly the better team on paper. They have the more refined superstars. They have the big names, Tatum and Brown. They've been here before. They were in the championship. It's Boston. They have the prestige, yada, yada, yada. As Bill Simmons calls them, on the other hand, we have the Zombie Heat, and they never die. The 8 seed, they made the finals as a 6 seed in 2020. The 8 seed this year came, back from the brink, almost lost to the Bulls in the damn play-in game. And now here they are, up 1-0 in the Eastern Conference Finals. I mean, I think the Zombie Heat is the perfect name, bestowed on the Heat by Bill Simmons, because they truly do never die and they keep coming back stronger. Just when you shoot them in the heart, they just bounce right back up and keep coming right after you. And that's the one thing I want to talk about. They keep coming after you. The Heat, the biggest thing that sticks out to me about them is that they have absolutely no fear of the Celtics. A lot of teams can be intimidated, or it doesn't even have to be intimidated, though. Just a lot of times when, you got stars on the other side, there's a lot of respect given, and fairly so. These guys are great players, and especially on runs, this is something that really sticks out to me. Like when teams go on runs, you can see the other teams get a little flustered, even if it's like the Warriors or a team that has championship pedigree. They'll be a little flustered, and then they'll have to regroup and come back. The Heat it seems to me that nothing about the Celtics scares them at all. Even at the end of the second quarter, when the Celtics are making a run, extending their lead to double digits, in the fourth quarter when the Celtics started crazy hot, closing the gap big time, the Heat, their expressions didn't change. They didn't change how they played. I mean, they literally, and this is on the road in Boston, and they just came in there and they looked like the tougher team that was, and I think Butler sets the tone, but wow, they just have absolutely no fear of the Celtics, and I think that bodes well for them. This was something we kind of knew. They faced the Celtics before, almost beat them last year in the conference finals, but it just really stands out still, even with some of these young guys like Strus and Caleb Martin. Some of these other guys that come in, they carry the same swagger as their leader, Jimmy Butler. And that leads into my next point. Jimmy freaking Butler. When he hit that shot that bounced up and Kevin Harlan screamed, Jimmy freaking Butler, that was perfect. He had 35 points last night, and he was amazing. He was everything you could look for out of a superstar, as he has been all postseason. But he had 35, 7, and 6 steals, and as well as 5 rebounds. But his play really personified that point that I was getting at earlier. Is like he really is just not afraid. I mean, he took the ball multiple times from Tatum, Brown, Smart. I mean, it's like he's just in their face the whole time. And that kind of style of play, it can wear on you. And as evidence, I mean, the Heat are making their way through this postseason. And the last thing I want to talk about with the Heat is their depth. Now, I know this is something that was discussed earlier in the postseason when it's like when they lost Hero, things were looking bleak. And I know there's still going to be times when some of these guys on the floor are like, this is not who you want to be out here, who you want to be having out here. But I think their depth is and it's like this with a lot, in sports in general, but it's far greater than the sum of their parts. I mean, Kevin Love, the fact that the Cavs just let him walk and bottom out is crazy to me. He's been extremely valuable in only 16 minutes. They don't ask a lot from him, but he hit 2 threes. He had 6 rebounds and 8 points. I mean, man, Kevin Love was awesome. So you got Kevin Love, you got Gabe Vincent, Max Strus, Duncan Robinson didn't even really play last night. Caleb Martin has been tremendous. Lowry, amazing off the bench. Zeller, spells out of bio for a little bit. So, I mean, let me just list this here, though. Lowry, Caleb Martin, Duncan Robinson, I do like him, even though he didn't play a lot last night. And then I guess these are starters, but still Strus, Vincent, Kevin Love, those are others. That's like 5 or 6 guys right there. And I'll touch on this for the Celtics. The big difference especially I saw this in the first half. I'm like, oh, this is depth versus depth, because the Celtics are a deep team as well. Even though they only run the rotation about 7 or 8 guys, they're deep in those 8 guys. But the one thing about these Heat guys, even if they're not the best, even if Gabe Vincent's going to take some crazy shots, even though he didn't actually really take many shots in this game last night, even if he's going to take some shots that you wish he wouldn't, even if Strus and Duncan Robinson are going to get beat defensively at times, you know what you're getting. The only guy on the Heat that I really feel like you're questioning, and you can maybe say the same for Duncan Robinson, but the guy that you really just don't know what you're going to get day to day is Bam. But other than that, you pretty much know what you're getting. Even if it's worse than the guy across from them on the other team, you know what you're getting, and sometimes that's extremely valuable. All right, let's get to the Celtics, as we're already 5 minutes in, and I said I was going to be shorter. So I think one of the main narratives is going to be the fact that Jason Tatum didn't have a field goal attempt in the fourth quarter. And look, could they have gotten him the ball more? Should he have been demanding the ball at the beginning of possessions? Sure. And the announcers were hammering it home the entire time, but then they wouldn't say anything when he did get the ball and turn it over. I just think he didn't play amazing in the fourth quarter, and that's that. I mean, he got to the line. He had like 4 or 6 free throws in the fourth quarter. I don't think this is as big of a deal as it should be. Now, getting back to the first half, I loved what Smart and Robert Williams were doing in that first half. Smart was tearing it up on the pick and roll, making all the right passes. And the Celtics looked really good there at the end of the second quarter. I mean, I just don't know what they got away from. I think in the third, now Smart, I thought he played tremendous. Smart sometimes in the third quarter, I felt like there was a little bit too much of Smart offensively. Now he had some shots, and I remember he had a corner 3, but I felt like there was a little bit too much Smart. And that's getting into one of my main takeaways. You know, they have Jaylen Brown, second team, and I feel like they have yet to unlock him. He was good last year. I just feel like there's something they need to unlock with Jaylen Brown. How many points did he have? He had 22 points. He's just a lot better than 22 points, and he took 21 shots, but I think a couple were at the end. Before that, he was 10 for 18 with 22 points. I mean, he didn't shoot well from 3 last night, but I think there's something they need to unlock there, and obviously it's difficult when you have Tatum and Brown. It's going to be a test pretty much every game where you're trying to figure out the balance between the two, and they do play generally very well together. I just feel like you got Jaylen Brown. All the talk was about Tatum. I think they need to unlock something with Brown, and that could be meaning a few less shots from Brogdon, even though he played great and he continues to play great, and he's so huge for them off the bench. A few less shots for Brogdon, a few less Horford threes, a few less Smart shots, like there were in the third quarter where there were a couple possessions in a row where he was the guy taking the shot. They need to unlock Jaylen Brown. That's one of my big takeaways. And then the last thing, it ties into that Heat point, is that I do believe, and look, we had a Peyton Pritchard sighting last night, which was shocking, but I think that's just to spell some of the guards that the Heat run out there. Like I said, the Celtics are generally 7 or 8 deep, but they're real good in that 7. Let's exclude Pritchard from this for a moment. Let's talk about White, Brogdon, Brown, Smart, Williams, Horford, Tatum. The difference that's a far better 7 or 8 than the Heat have. But the difference, I said, the Heat, you kind of know what you're getting. The Celtics, you don't always know what you're getting. And that's been shown in the playoffs, and I don't want to overreact too much. And there's a good chance they come out and blow out the Heat next game. Now, I don't think that's actually going to happen. But regardless, Derek White, he hasn't been as great recently. He did play well last night, but he hasn't been as solid as he was earlier in the season and in the postseason last year. You don't always know what you're getting. Brogdon, at this point, this postseason, you pretty much know what you're getting with Brogdon. I'll give that. Brown, you're still going to get good, but you don't know if you're going to get great from Brown. Smart can be hit or miss sometimes, although he's always going to be competing. Robert Williams, looks like he's going to have a big series with Bam Adebayo, kind of being able to beat up the Heat in the paint. You got Horford. He had 7 points. He was not really a factor last night. He was off from 3. And Tatum, even though he's going to be great always, you don't know if you're going to get the elite Tatum game or the fourth quarter where he doesn't really show up. I kind of want to hit that point that the Celtics, you don't always know what you're getting, and that's why some of these games can slip away from them. So I fully expect them they're not going to just roll over here. I mean, this is one game. That's the most important thing to remember. It's just game 1 of the series, but the Heat did their job. They stole a game on the road. Now, if they can steal game 2, it looked like it might be their series. I think I picked the Celtics in 6 or 7. You just knew this series was going to be long, and I think the fact that the Heat won a game, it solidifies the point. Excuse me, that this will be a long series. So I don't know. Part of me wants to go and say, hey, you know what? After what I saw last night, the Heat are winning this series, but I'm not going to go that far. It was a great game, and I just talked for 10 minutes when I said I wanted to talk for less than 8. But hey, I had a lot to talk about. That was such a fun game to watch. Please let me know what you thought. Can't wait to watch the Lakers Nuggets later, and I'll have a reaction video on that for you. Peace.